this point, we're going to talk about product. And we'll start with a quick review of your 1982 LeCar, 18i, and Fuego product highlights as a basis for the 1983 model lineup. In this program, we're going to do things a little differently than we've done in our earlier product sales training programs. Instead of me doing all the talking, we're going to hear from some leading salesmen, guys who not only know their Renault products inside and out, but who are doing a heck of a job selling them. We'll start with LeCar, and this is Mike Wiseman. He ranks among the leading Renault salesmen in the country. We asked him to talk to us about how he presents LeCar to prospects. Mike, what do you feel is the key to selling LeCar?
I think the most important thing when you're dealing with a customer is to listen to what the customer feels that he needs and desires from a car. And by knowing your product, if you really know your product well, you can sell the benefits that your car has directly to what he feels his needs and desires are. Well, the most important thing is to listen to the customer, find out what he wants, and then show him how your product is best going to fit those needs and desires.
What have you found impresses the customer most about LeCar?
The one feature that really stands out is the ride of the car. Because of the type of suspension, because of the fully independent suspension coupled with the type of tires and the front-wheel drive system. Most people, if they've driven a Japanese product or even are coming from a big, older car to driving a small car, expect it to be really choppy, bouncy, not really have a good ride. The type of suspension that a LeCar has really impresses people. On every demonstration ride that I take the customer over a railroad track at approximately 40 miles an hour. They will feel no jerk in the steering wheel. The car will walk smoothly over the railroad tracks. It usually really impresses them.
Describe for us how you go about presenting the car.
Okay, the first thing I try to do is get the customer involved with it somewhat. First of all, we'll have them sit in the seats so they can feel how comfortable they are, how nice they are for a small car. As you go through there, you can show him the whole interior so that he can see that it's put together with quality. When you're walking around the outside of the car, it's a good time to bring up the 3-year rust warranty as well as the factory warranty. You want to show him the Michelin steel-belted radial tires because most people know and agree that they're really a fine tire for a small car. When you're at the driver's position, you want to show the customer how easy and accessible all the controls for the car are. If you can, you have him turn on the emergency flashers, the rear window defroster, so he can see that from the driving position how accessible everything is. You want to show him the features of how he can independently control the heater in the car. That's something else that he can get involved in moving that switch up and down, just so that he's beginning to get a feel. And while he's doing things with his hands, he seems to be more relaxed. They don't seem to be quite so intimidated. When you go underneath the hood, 9 times out of 10, by telling them about the wet sleeve engine design of the car will really impress them. It's something different. Most people like to know about it since it is different. And if you can show him or prove to him that it will save him some money in the long run if he has to have any major work done on the engine, plus the fact that it cools the engine better so he'll have less problem with heat fatigue failure of internal parts, usually really impresses the customer. Underneath the hood, you also want to show him how the front-wheel drive system is set up, how the engine's mounted directly over the transaxle so that all his weight is centered right between the 2 front tires, and try to paint a picture so that he can visually see why that setup will give him better traction in the snow and ice. The most thing you want to do is tell him as much as you know about the car as long as you have control of him, and let him see how those things that you can tell him about are going to benefit him.
Is there any one thing which you feel really stands out with a customer during your floor presentation?
The thing that really seems to stand out is the comfort of the seats. That there's no adjustment that he can't make on the seat so it will fit to him and be comfortable. Most people don't expect the seats in a small car to be as comfortable as they are in a LeCar.
What are the key objections that you run into during a presentation? In other words, are there any major stumbling blocks?
Probably the biggest one is the appearance of the car. You have to show the customer, most people have the impression that it's not a beautiful looking car. Okay, they think maybe some of the Japanese imports have more style, look a little bit better. You have to overcome that. The way that I use to overcome it is by showing the customer how functional it is, how much headroom he has in the front, how much leg room he has, put him in the back seat with the seat back if he's of reasonable size, say 6 foot or under, and show him that he has room to seat 2 and even 3 adults if he wants to in the back seat. Most of all, you have to overcome the fact that he's usually not familiar with a Renault, and tell him somewhat about the company so that he has confidence in the company and in you as a dealer, and then show him how well the car is laid out and why it's shaped and built the way it is, so that he'll get the most benefit from the space that's there.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Now, I'd like for you to give us a sample of how you conduct a demo ride.
What I do on the demo route is go straight down the main street here in town. First of all, probably the worst part of the whole demo ride is the first part right here, where we have a really bumpy road. And with the customer driving, he can feel how the car steps over the bumps and isn't really rocked or shaken by them. That's about the time that you'll explain the independent suspension to him and the benefits that he'll derive from that suspension. It's about the time that you try to tell him about the staggered wheelbase on the LeCar, which lets the car step over bumps separately. After he's gone through that, I'll have him, if there's not too much traffic, make a really quick lane change or two so that he can feel the reaction of the rack and pinion steering. By this time, he should already know that the car's front-wheel drive. I'll try to discuss some of the benefits of him. All the time that you're talking to him about the benefits of the car and the features of the product, you're not telling him. You're trying to phrase the knowledge that you have to him with questions so that you can give him, so that he will give you affirmative answers. For example, can you feel how responsive that rack and pinion steering is? Don't you enjoy having that type of control over a car? Do you enjoy the comfort of the seats? Have you sat in very many small cars that have seats that are this comfortable? Do you like the fact that they'll fully recline and you won't have any problem with adjusting the back of the seat? Mostly interior things in the car that he can easily get acquainted with without interrupting his driving ability.
What kind of questions do you get during a demo ride?
A lot of times they ask questions about parts availability. They ask about service, if the car can be serviced. Usually when you tell them that Renault has the biggest foreign car dealer in the United States right now, that will pretty much overcome those objections. As well as you tell them how quickly we can get parts from the zone office if they should need them in an emergency. Plus the factory warranty, so that he knows he won't have to pay for anything that might happen the first year or 12,000 miles.
What do you think it takes for someone to be successful selling LeCar? What are the key ingredients?
Say the most important ingredients would be to thoroughly, very thoroughly, know your product. You want to know how the engine works, how the suspension's set up. You want to know the benefits, the advantages of front-wheel drive, and you want to be able to prove those benefits to your customer. After you've identified exactly what he wants from a car, by knowing the product inside and out, being able to tell him exactly what this car will be able to do for him and why it will be a good car for him.
I don't have to tell you that the Renault line of automobiles is really starting to make an impact on the American scene. LeCar and 18i are coming into their own. Fuego is putting some sizzle back into the business and making people stop, look, and take notice of Renault. It's really helping to build recognition of the Renault name. And now, with the all-new Alliance, you have a line of Renault automobiles that offers something for just about everyone who walks into your showroom. Plus, you have a heck of a mileage story to sell. Look at these figures. LeCar, 33 city and 45 highway for the US and Canada. In California, the figures are 2940. And the 18i and Fuego offer 2740, while the Turbo comes in at 2640. Do a favor for yourself and your pocketbook. Become a true expert on these cars. Know your product. As they say, get to know Renault. By the way, why not take time to review the previous 2 sales training discs, one on the LeCar and 18i and the other on the Fuego, since they both contain a wealth of information. As you saw, Product knowledge is the key to selling success. Good luck.